Hey everybody, I'm going to be talking to Anthony Salazar today about his drumming, about his inspirations, about his passions, everything. So you don't want to miss this interview with Anthony Salazar, even though I say that about everyone, but please just enjoy this interview.
Behind the bird. Behind the bird. Behind the bird. Behind the bird.
First, I'm gonna do a little game with you.
Okay, sure, here.
Okay. To like break the ice, whatever.
Alright.
Favorite movie?
Toy Story.
Favorite show?
Just started watching Rick and Morty. That's my new favorite.
Nice. I've been wanting to start it.
It's amazing.
Isn't there like 5 seasons?
No, there's only 2.
Oh,
and
really?
you can get through them in a day. They're quick, like
okay.
20-minute episodes.
Okay, cool. I'll do that. Favorite book?
I'm reading through Candide, which is an old one. So yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. Currently reading that. That's
Okay.
my favorite.
Favorite song?
Oh, goddamn.
Or album?
Oh, well, I mean, favorite song of all time probably Ain't No Mountain High Enough, Marvin Gaye. The favorite album is probably like Stadium Arcadium or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Favorite color?
Green, for sure.
Nice. Favorite place in LA?
Silver Lake.
The other Silver Lake guest said Silver Lake.
Yeah, well, I mean, I love it here, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So much stuff to do. But yeah.
Nice. Okay, who taught you how to play drums first?
Oh, well, I'd always wanted to play drums, so like that was something that like I guess I never really took seriously until I was around 11, and my parents had bought me a drum pad, and because I was like I really want a drum set, and they wouldn't get me one until I bought a drum pad, and so if you play on this every day, we'll get you a drum set and a drum teacher. So for about 6 months I beat the shit out of that thing. I still have it, and my first drum teacher was a guy named Chad Jackson. And it was in Sacramento. That's where I'm from Folsom. So, and I took lessons with him for about 3 years, and I got a drum set about a year into me playing. Drums on a pad with him. So, that's who kind of got me into it. And I've had so many teachers since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went to like Musicians Institute and all that. And I've had teachers in between. So I've had a lot of time with that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What was like the number one thing you learned at Musicians Institute?
With MI, it was really how to, because you learn so much musically, so, it's kind of hard to pick out what was the most valuable thing, because you really have to break yourself down. It's kind of like boot camp for 2 years. You know. I got my associates there. I was going to continue on and go to like USC and do a bachelor's and be a music teacher and all that, and I had some teachers kind of say, hey, like, you're still, when I went there I was 18, so they're like, hey, you're still young, why don't you, instead of moving forward, not that you can't, you should really get out there and tour, put your name out there. I really think that might be valuable for you. You really need some experience. And so I took to their advice, and I graduated with my degree. And the most valuable thing I left with was how to make an impression, I suppose. Like, I don't know if there's a right way to say that without, like, and not like in like a showy way, but it was how to make an impression as a friend, as a person, like, and to know that all the time you put into drumming and music in general, like, because I'm one of those people, I get timid when I meet people, I get intimidated, and there's so many great musicians, and you just want to do well, and so you get nervous, and you just want to do your best, but if your personality shows through, then your skill kind of comes second, and so I think the thing I learned that was more important was how to make friends, and how to keep those friends, and how to just, like, kind of navigate your way through people. Like, that was the most important thing I learned, and then I kind of got the satisfaction of kind of getting better at drumming in the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Why did you start drumming?
Why? Oh, so I mean, like most people, You love the Beatles. That's like kind of like everyone's like, oh, maybe you don't, but I know plenty who don't. But I wasn't really into rock music actually. Growing up, my dad used to play like top 40 stuff, and I still love pop music. But I started drumming because I can't remember what it was. I might have been around the time I wanted to start drumming. Like it's kind of like a weird thing because like wanting to like take it to a career and like wanting to do it are two different things. I always wanted to do it, but choosing to do it as a career was after I loved the Beatles and I was like, oh, Ringo's like the best drummer, and like, you know who John Bonham is? It was his birthday yesterday actually, and that's a drummer for Led Zeppelin. And after I watched a live Zeppelin DVD, I was like, no, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's like, that is the thing that I want to do. And basically dedicated the next 4 years to like playing in a room by myself for like hours, like 6 or 7 hours, just to not even like it took a while to get good, but like I would just ruthlessly play through albums like until
Doesn't that hurt your hands?
It does, yeah. You get fatigued, like you sweat a lot, like
7 hours.
Yeah, and well, that's why I probably can't practice anymore now because I spent all that time doing it then. But when I was I'd say that's when I really wanted to do it. I actually originally wanted to be an animator. I wanted to work for Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. And around the time I was 15, I started playing music a lot more with my friends, and I started getting better at it. Started taking more lessons, started doing like the high school drumline and stuff like that. But then I had this really very discouraging teacher for art, and she just made it so hard for me to enjoy it. And I remember a friend of mine introduced me to a band called Army of Anyone, which is like STP, like Stone Temple Pilots, Filter, and this drummer named Ray Luzier. It was like a super group. And Ray actually graduated from MI, and I saw him in a magazine next to MI, and that's kind of how I got there. Came to LA for a week at 15 to go to like a summer program at MI, and then basically from there decided that it was the thing that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I was like, this is a career I can do. I can play for as many people as I want to. Like I don't have to be an artist, but it was funny because that changed because now here I am. But especially like session work was like where I wanted to do it. And I think at 15 I had a very, very clear cut idea of how I wanted to do it, and I've been doing it. So
nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I got lucky.
15 is very young.
Yeah, I got really lucky.
Too.
Yeah. And everyone thought I was crazy too. In the high school yearbook, it's funny because like you see everyone going, oh, these 5 people going to Yale, like these people going to like Chico State, because Northern California, and people going to Washington and to Florida, and these people are going to Spain, and then me, it was just me, my name, and it said Musicians Institute. I was the only one coming here. And then what's funny is years later, like people from my hometown came to LA to go to UCLA and stuff like that, and I bumped into them out here. But I was the only person coming to LA in my entire graduating class. Isn't that weird? Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Who are your musical inspirations?
It ranges because I play guitar and sing, and I do that, and then for drumming and all that stuff it's different. But Red Hot Chili Peppers again, like that was like that was big for me, hearing them for the first time. I love their whole catalog. I could play and sing to all of it. Led Zeppelin obviously, and like Soundgarden, like Chris Cornell just passed away. Like he was huge and pivotal. I guess it was funny because a lot of my close friends never really understood how much I really loved that guy. People tell me I look like him sometimes. When my hair's down, it gets all curly and stuff, and people are like, oh, you look like Chris Cornell, and that was always the joke. But Soundgarden, again, like when I was 15 or 16, that was huge. Like that was like where I didn't know you can do that. I didn't know you were allowed. I thought music had all these rules. Yeah. And to hear grunge, and especially the way Soundgarden did, that weird sort of like pseudo metal, like I guess I don't know even how to describe songwriter sort of stuff. Like that was big for me, and so a lot of my early songs, a lot of my early ideas when I was songwriting, and even drumming, kind of came from bands like Soundgarden, a lot of those '90s bands, and then eventually, you kind of get into other like sort of proggy bands like Tides of Man and like Closure in Moscow. Like some of my good friend introduced me to them, and Coheed and Cambria is a huge influence. Talk about like Soundgarden and Coheed, like that's like. My music sounds nothing like theirs, like as far as Iron Point's concerned, but like when I was doing Iron Point, my goal, originally was with some friends that started the band with me, was to kind of go for Death Cab for Cutie, Kings of Leon. So like, I mean, just those 4 bands right there, like that's like those are all kind of like very, very like I'll go back to those when I want to start writing. I guess 5 bands with like Chili Peppers, Coheed, Soundgarden, Kings, and Death Cab. Like those are, I'll kind of just go back to those as my root, as my fundamental root of songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it never sounds like any of those things. It always end up sounding like Foo Fighters or something like that, or Incubus. Someone told me one time. Yeah.
Are you still with Iron Point?
Well, Iron Point's just me.
Oh.
Yeah. So Iron Point is. So originally it was 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
It was my friend Christy, my friend Josh, and we all parted ways. Nothing, horrible or too horrible, but but that was, Josh was my best friend growing up. We'd always wanted to play music, and Christy and I were together at one point, and we were all doing things separately. Like Josh and I were working via email at one point, and Christy and I were living together. So when we all started living together, working on Iron Point, that was kind of it for about a year, and then we all moved away, kind of went separate ways. I chose to kind of continue with it and take it down the indie rock sort of path. So Iron Point's just me, and I still continue to do it. I was actually just writing a song earlier. I was working on something that I dug up, old memo, our voice memo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Iron Point's just me.
You're just writing now for Iron Point.
Basically, it's Iron Point is the thing that I get to do when I'm not drumming like crazy, when I'm not out all the time, because I play drums in Teenage Wrist, which is the band I'm currently working on an album with. I play drums in a band called Shallows, which just released some music, and they're incredible. That's actually with the guitar player from Teenage Wrist, Marshall Gallagher, and a fantastic songwriter named Danny Poppet. Mm-hmm. And I work with both of them, and they've been my friends for a long time. And then I kind of just pop in and out of bands. I play with a Chilean pop band called Maria del Pilar. She's amazing, and I've played with so many other people. I played on the King Washington record that just came out. I played the last track of that album. So, I guess I kind of float around from band to band, but Iron Point's my release. That's the thing I get to do. That sounds nothing like any of those things. Like, it's me being fully creative and not working for anybody, so it's awesome.
So it's like indie rock?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. I mean, it's not too heavy or anything, not like too punky or thrashy. Maybe it might go that way. I've been kind of contemplating that. The beauty of it is I don't really have any plans for it to go any particular way. I just love playing shows, and my musician buddies who play with me, they're fantastic session players and great dudes, and I'm very lucky to have them, and so I get to play some shows every now and again with them, and so we're just kind of taking off again. It's like a rebirth. Because the band started in 2015, we played Echo Park Rising, and that was our debut as an acoustic group, so.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's your favorite venue that you've played?
That I've played? Oh, man. That's a tough one. I played a lot. Actually, I go between 2. The Satellite's not like a big venue, out here, but I just love that place. That's kind of when I first turned 21, I was allowed to go somewhere. Like you get into places and it's free on Monday nights. Like that, the Satellite, I kind of grew a love for that place. I always loved it. Always have a great time there. Always great shows, and I actually love the Roxy a lot. I love that stage. I've headlined the Roxy and I've opened up at the Roxy, so I've kind of been on both sides of it, and that place is so much fun. Actually, I'd love to play there with my band Teenage Wrist. Actually, I'd love to play drums there. That'll probably happen soon.
What's coming up next for you?
Oh, for me? Well, for Iron Point, I'm actually gonna be releasing another single here soon. I don't have an exact release date, but I play a handful of songs live that I'm going to that I've gotten some response, and I released a song 2 months ago called Little Sister. And that was well received by a lot of the people who come out to the shows and some promoters and whatnot. I'm probably going to remaster that song and do a music video for it sometime over the summer. Release date, not sure. And then I'm going to put out another single as Iron Point. It's this song called Fixed. And so I'm probably going to actually start that here pretty soon. But otherwise, in the world of drumming, like I said, my band Teenage Wrist, we're working on our full-length record, and we're working with an awesome producer, Carlos de la Garza, and so I'm really stoked. I actually just got a pre-production with them this morning, so there's probably gonna be more news coming out about that like in the next month or so, and I know that our fans are gonna really like that. So that's right now. I'm just focusing on those two things, just Teenage Wrist and kind of songwriting in between.
Nice.
Yeah, staying sharp.
How did you get the name Iron Point?
So Iron Point. There's two people I have to thank for that. The first one is my buddy Spencer Poling, who grew up with me and Josh in Folsom. That's my old bandmate Josh. So Spencer, we were all sitting around. He had visited LA, and we were actually going over band names, and he had thrown out Iron Point. And Iron Point is a street that we all went to school on. Mm-hmm. So it's like one of those things like Skylit Drive or some shit like that, like where it's like, the street name is the band name. But Iron Point was where we all went to school. And he said, Iron Point. And it had been funny because I had just actually played a show in Mexico, and at one of the museums there was a picture of an arrowhead, like an obsidian arrowhead, and it was like in this white background. I looked at the picture, I'm like, oh my god, that'd be such a great album cover. And it's funny because if you like look at the back of all my like stuff, like that's what I redesigned an Iron Point, like an arrowhead, like that's kind of the logo is the arrowhead, and like that's even my merch. My friend Alex, she works for this company she is the owner and designer of Black Moon Gems, and so my merchandise is all genuine obsidian arrowhead necklaces. So, but Iron Point came from that, and so Spencer, he threw out a name. We were kind of throwing out street names as a joke, and he said Iron Point. And then I guess a week earlier, Josh was talking to his girlfriend, and she had mentioned naming the band Iron Point. So when those two kind of ideas kind of came together, we all said, oh my god, that's totally it. And then, like I said, when the group sort of went different ways, I chose to get moving forward with it. And I just love that name because it's that's my home, Folsom, and Iron Point that's the only street that you can get to like the places that we were going to as kids, so that was pivotal, and I really adored that name, so I kept it. I'm probably gonna keep it. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. So thank you, Anthony.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Behind the Birk.
Yeah.